Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel, to my wonderland, and today's the day where we spill the tea. Because today I'm here to talk to you about the biggest disappointments of books that I've read in 2018. So this year I had a combination of really good books and books that I thought were not that great. Not to say I despise them. So no hard feelings here. Like, if I mention any book that you guys like, just keep in mind that we are all different people. We all come from totally different backgrounds in life, and we might enjoy some books and hate others, or just find them boring for whatever reason. So we're here in the booktube community to be honest with each other, to share, to be transparent, and I'm here to tell you the books that I didn't enjoy and that I didn't like in 2018. Also, another thing that I have to get used to is I need to get used to D.N.F books. I'm having a lot of trouble DNFing books. I never do. When I'm reading a book and I'm hating it, I just push myself to move forward with it because I just feel like I need to finish it. Like, if I start something, I have to finish it. If I start a shitty movie, I feel like I have to finish it. And I just need to let them go, you know? I need to let them go. The other day I watched, I don't remember this girl's channel, but I'm gonna put the link down below. But she made a cover of Let It Go, and it was about DNFing books. And it was the best thing that I have seen in 2018. It's the best booktube video ever done. And I'm gonna leave a link down below because that's gonna be now my new mantra. I'm just gonna listen to that song every time I need to DNF a book to feel strong enough to let it go. Let's start talking about The Graces by Laura Eve. And please also note, most of these books I might not remember much of what happened because I just wanted to erase them from my mind. So I read this book during the Witchathon, and I bought this book because it is about witches and the cover is stunning. Like, the cover is the best thing about this book. I'm really sorry that I have to say that, but it was just boring, dragging, and just I lost interest very early in the book about the characters. I didn't care if they lived, if they died, and that for me already tells me that I'm not enjoying a book. If you cannot feel with them, if you cannot, you know, feel threatened when they are put in a dangerous position, then it means that you're really not engaged with the book. So it's about this girl, and she gets at some point to befriend and hang out with the Graces, which is this group of siblings that are, you know, have all of these rumors about them that they are witches and things like that, and she gets all excited that they're inviting her kind of into their world. But then things start to get complicated between them, and I just didn't like it. I'm sorry. And the book is stunning, and everything about the book is stunning. I mean, look at this. And I'm having trouble to let this one go. Actually, the second book is coming out in 2019, and the cover matches this one, and it's stunning. And I'm really trying not to buy it just because of that. And I just wanted to love it so much, and then I didn't. Then I read The Forgetting Time by Sharon Guskin, and I don't even own the copy of this book anymore because I was so frustrated with this book that I decided to unhaul it because I just couldn't. And it is about the theory of kids that act weirdly because they remember a past life. So they remember the person they were before they died and reincarnated in their body that they have right now, and how this woman investigates about all of these things. And the premise sounded so interesting. You know, it's something that I was like, oh, that sounds so cool, you know, I want to read a book about that. But then the book was so boring, man. Like, it's one of those books that you have to push yourself to finish. Like, okay, let's read like a couple more pages, you know, like you're not having any fun reading the book. It's just boring to you. And I should have DNF'd this one, but I pushed myself through. Then let's talk about Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, and I'm gonna include here with this one Lola and the Boy Next Door. I heard both of them in audiobook. I believe it was around the end of November because I was super busy with life and I wanted to at least listen to some audiobooks since I could not read physical books. And I don't know, I chose these ones because they were available for free and I was like, let me try them out. Oh boy, what a mistake it was. Both main characters, both girls, had no self-esteem. They were too naive. I don't know, maybe I just couldn't relate to them because I'm not a naive young little girl anymore. But I think it doesn't matter if you share a lot in common with a character or not. If it's a well-written book, you will have that connection with the character. It doesn't matter, because I've read books about people that have had like health issues or about people completely different ages, and I feel connected to those characters, you know, I was living it with them. And with this ones, it was just like they were just annoying, and when the main character is just annoying and it makes you roll your eyes all the time, then it's just not good. In Anna and the French Kiss, it's basically about a spoiled brat that is being sent to France, and she's always complaining like, oh, they're making me go to France. Do you know how many people will kill to go to France, study abroad, and have a nice semester there? Like, no, do you? Stop being so ungrateful and deal with it. Basically, she gets there and she has this fantasy in her head that she's together with this guy back home, but they're not even a couple. It's just, you know, her imagination. She thinks that because they kissed once, now they're together. I guess that's how it goes. And so in France, of course, she meets this boy. And this guy's like the weirdest thing. I think he has a French name and British accent, but he's actually from the USA. I don't know, like, super believable, okay? And basically she just falls in love with him, and she doesn't care that he already has a girlfriend, and she's hanging out with him all the time. And man, like, I just couldn't, like. And because it was an audiobook, I think if I would have tried to physically read this book, I would have had to stop reading because I would have been puking on the book all the time, so that wouldn't have worked out. Now, you might think I'm being really harsh on this book, but I just wanted to explain to you how frustrated I am about this book. And I mean, I know there are people out there that really love this trilogy because it is a trilogy, but I'm not going to attempt to get to the third book since the first two were a disaster. And I don't know, there are people out there that really love them, so I mean, no offense to you. If you really like it, it's fine, you know, maybe you enjoy this book. But for me, it was just a disaster. It was just a mess. Then we have The Dead Inside by Cindy Drew Ether, and I got this book, I got an arc of this book years ago when I went to a book con in England, and I had not read it, and I was like, oh man, I have this arc for so long, I need to get to it. So I finally decided to read it this year. And oh boy, I don't have a copy of it anymore because I also gave it away because I just couldn't deal with it. It was a really weird story. I thought it was just gonna be about this 14-15-year-old girl that is very troubled and just wants to run away from home. But then things get so weird, and I just thought that the topics that the book had to deal with were not handled properly, and it felt unfinished for me. I don't know if it's because this was an arc, so I don't know if the final copy was exactly the same, but for me this was a disaster as well. Then I have Circus Galacticus by D.N.F. I picked this one up because I thought it was going to be a really cool book. It's magical realism and it is based on a circus as well. But the thing is, this book is zero memorable. Like, I don't remember anything about it. I know that it is about these kids that are in this circus and then they train for something, and I don't know, like, I forgot about the book, which means that it wasn't that great because I didn't hold any memories from the book, and I thought I was gonna like it, but it didn't make the cut. Then I have The Men Who Loved Books Too Much by Alison Hoover Bartlett. And I picked this one up, let's be honest, because of the title, and I thought it was gonna be something really cool about books, and it does have to do about books. I believe this is a true story based on a guy that used to be a thief and used to steal rare collectible books. I think that because it was based on a true story, the narrator just told everything in a so dragging and boring way. There was no excitement, no moments where I was like, oh my god, this is so gripping and this is like really pulling me into the story and I need to know what happens next. And I think that's what was missing for me, because we're talking here about a thief and his victim, so I was expecting it to be more exciting. Then this summer I read on my ebook Finding Cinderella by Colleen Hoover. The reason being I was looking for an easy romance and I had not read anything by Colleen Hoover, so I was like, why not? Let's do it. And it was just predictive, it was boring, it had nothing special. I was just expecting so much more because even though it is a love story, okay, it doesn't have to be simple and boring. It can also be exciting and it can also have some nice twists and things like that. And this was just too basic and too boring. Then also I read 99 Days by Katie Kotungo, also this summer on my ebook, thinking, okay, this is like a nice romance and it is pretty popular, so I'm just gonna read it. The main character was disappointing to me. The plot was just stupid to me. It is about this girl that comes back to her hometown and she's embarrassed because before she left, I believe that she was in a relationship with a guy and then also hooked up with his brother, and so they didn't end up in good terms when she left. And when she came back, all these feelings are coming back up and all of that stuff, and I don't know, it was just embarrassing. It was an embarrassing story and an embarrassing main character. Then I have Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jeannie Han. And you might wonder why this is in this video, because I did enjoy the trilogy and actually I loved the Netflix movie more than the books. My favorite book was the second book, which is weird because normally the second book, it's never a favorite, but for me, I Still Love You was my favorite book on the trilogy. I felt this book, the third book, was unnecessary. This didn't bring anything new to the story. This was just basically everything what everybody already knew after reading book 2. This is just an extension and dragging the story just to make a third book. My feeling is that the author needed this book to kind of say goodbye to the characters, you know, and give a more conclusive ending, but was it necessary? No. I think this could have been a great duology and she could have just compiled everything in 2 books. For me, this was unnecessary. It didn't give me anything new. It was not exciting at all. So that's why for me it was a big disappointment. And the worst book that I read this year, and it took me forever to finish, it is Authority by Jeff Vandermeer, and it is book 2 in the Southern Reach trilogy. So because Annihilation was going to be released this year on Netflix, I decided to buy the trilogy. So I read book 1 and I was like, oh my god, this is so good. I loved book 1. Book 1 was amazing. And then I got to book 2. Oh boy. This is the most boring, going in circles, pointless book I've ever read. It was so bad that it took me weeks to finish it. Like, I had to force myself to keep on reading, and it was just like, I didn't even care if I was getting any of the information because I just couldn't care less for the book, and it was just so boring. I don't know if book 3 is any good. If anybody has read book 3, let me know down below, because I kind of lost my interest after book 3. The idea was to read 1, 2 and 3 in 2018, but obviously that didn't happen because after this book I just couldn't deal with it. I didn't want to know anything anymore. But maybe book 3 is amazing again, so then I can read that one. But I just don't understand, you know, it's one of those weird situations where book 1 I loved it so much, and then book 2 was like, that's basically my description of book 2. It's poop. So those were the worst books that I have read in 2018. Please do not feel hurt if I've mentioned any book that you really loved. It's just my personal opinion. You know, everybody has different opinions and you might hate books that I love, and that's perfectly fine. Let me know what you thought about the books that I've mentioned in this video, and also let me know which books that you read in 2018 that were horrendous. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. All my other social medias listed down below for you guys, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!